Are we live or are we not live? Now we are. I don't know what happened there. Thought it was going and then it wasn't. So, welcome. This is Lori. Late Night Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting. I don't know where it picked up and where it left off. Sorry for the little dizziness there at the beginning. Let me get my devices set up so I can see if anybody joins me live. And then hopefully I can watch for comments as well. So when I first started my video, it was still 11:59 p.m. on October 21st here in Wisconsin. So time got away from me. I was putzing around. Hello, Juju. I spent part of my evening researching places to stay for On Stage, which is a Stampin' Up! Convention basically that is coming up in March. That is a demonstrator-only event. So that might be something to look into if you like to travel and you like conventions, and we always have a great time. So I was researching places to stay, and then I've got a craft fair coming up. So my night kind of got away from me. So a couple of quick announcements. Whew, free shipping. Juju, I don't know if you saw this. I posted it in our private Facebook group, I think, or I might have posted on my page. I don't remember. But tomorrow, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Hello, Susan. You've got family coming over for dinner. What's on the menu? So we've got free shipping coming up. This is for orders of $75 or more. So I've added a little bonus. If you order through me at least $100 before your tax, I will send you a free embellishment. Last chance products. They're on sale. Find them. If you see something you like, get it before it's gone, because when it's gone, they're gone. New products. October, we had 3 new kits coming up. That Nutcracker one that I did last night, I looked today, it's unavailable. So it should be coming back because it's still on the website, but that was cuter than I thought it was going to be. Traditions of Christmas, this virtual class, it's going to be this week, Thursday. As I mentioned, I cannot do a watch party for my local folks because I have a private class scheduled and I'll be out of town for that. But I did order some of the other things for it because I will do a rewatch party. And these came today. So I'll take a look at that stuff. And the joint offer, lasagna, Greek salad, sourdough loaf. Do you do your own sourdough bread? Chocolate cake. Cool. Carrot cake. It sounds delicious. And how was your day, Juju? Did you do your live? I didn't even have a chance to look, unfortunately. So then the last little announcement is a starter kit that is an awesome bonus. You get to pick $125 worth of product and only pay $35 plus tax. This is by far the best deal I have ever seen since I've been with Stampin' Up. And a lot of my friends that have been with Stampin' Up for over 20 years say that this is probably the best deal they've ever seen. So with this offer or with the alternate offer of $189 worth of product for only $99, either way you're getting $90 worth of free product that you get to pick. You get free shipping. You get a free paper pumpkin kit that's a past kit that'll be a surprise. You get some catalogs and business supplies. So you can either be a kitnapper, which is what I originally started as. You can be a discount diva, which is what I originally had become because I wanted the 20% discount off of all my stuff. You could be a community coach. A couple of my gals just stamp with their family or a couple of friends. You can be a business builder if you want. So can be a little side hustle. You can make a little money. Either way, if you've got questions about joining, please let me know. So, you bought your sourdough. Okay. Yeah, now I'm hungry. Yeah, we actually, my husband and I took my dad and his wife out for lunch. It is my dad's birthday today, so we took him out for lunch. And his wife's birthday is in a couple of days, so we kind of celebrated them both at one time. So we had leftovers, and that's what we had for dinner too. So we had lunch and dinner all from one meal. So Juju, you are a kidnapper with a team of kidnappers. That's all right. I said before, if I didn't have kind of some skin in the game, I would be tempted to drop and join again because it is just a super good deal. Well, thanks, Susan. But you might want to hang around for a little bit because because you've got until the end of March basically that you'll get your discount when you join now. But there are also ways that you can get more free product. And I'll have to look up what they call quick start. So if you get a certain amount, either in your first, I think 3 months, and then there's a tier after that, but you can get $50 worth of free product or $100 worth of free product or both. Depending on what you do. But anyway, I'll get you some information on that. But kidnappers are cool. Nothing wrong with being a kidnapper. So I think I'm ready to get down to business. I have some things in my head. I had seen another demonstrator do something similar. So I'm just going to see how it works. I am using... I figured yesterday we did Christmas things. Today, because it feels so much like fall here, our temperatures now are in the 30s overnight, which is Fahrenheit, which is close to freezing. So probably close to 0 Celsius. I don't know all that conversion stuff. What's a kidnapper? A kidnapper is when you join just so you can take advantage of the deal. And then you take advantage of your discount, and at the end of your first full quarter, which in this case is the end of March, because October, November, December is a quarter, but it's only a partial quarter because anybody joining in October did not get a full month. So then they also get January, February, March to get their minimums. So that would be $300 worth of orders. Usually it's per quarter, but because of the partial quarter, you have basically almost 6 months to get it, 5 to 6 months to get that 300. And then your discount just continues for another 3 months each time you meet that mark. If you don't meet that mark, no big deal. You just don't get your discount anymore, and you get to keep all the stuff that you got super cheap. So that's a kidnapper. And like I said, that's how I started. Whatever the deal was, I had gone with my team leader. I had been invited to one of her clubs by somebody that I worked with. And I went a few times, and I think I had taken my mom once or twice. And one of the times we were stamping, and I really liked the project that this woman had. And I was looking at the catalog, and I'm like, oh, what's that deal? I want that deal. So I joined, and she was shocked because nobody had asked me. Nobody had suggested to me. I hadn't been there that often, but I thought, well, why not get free stuff, right? I'm all in. So I just ended up staying because it was an inexpensive way to support my hobby when I get a discount on everything, because it's at least 20%. But depending on where your sales or purchases are, it can go up to 25% discount. So I just stayed in there, and, eventually I got somebody to join my team, and eventually I was, crafting with a few of my friends instead of just my mom. And so I've kind of built just a little business on it. So it supports my hobby. All right, so back to business. We are going to work with this Woven Textures designer series paper. Now this was in, should be the annual catalog. And it went with, let me pull these out. It was kind of a, might have been a suite with these textured notes and the textured note dies. I've used these dies quite a bit. This not so much, although I do really like the foliage on here and I like the font on here. Hey, Yuda. But I'm not intending on using these, although I could maybe use that. I think I already cut my piece down that I'm going to work on. But anyway, this is the paper from that bundle. And because our weather has turned cold so quickly, I just felt like a fall thing. I've got some pumpkin chai that I made that's cooling off, but I got my pumpkin chai tea. And I've pulled off the colors that are in this designer series paper pack. So our designer series paper packs always tell you what the colors are. So we've got basic beige, crumb cake, early espresso, gray granite, and the pecan pie, or pecan pie, or pecan, or however it is you say that. We had that debate quite some time ago. I did not pull out the gray granite because I'm not intending on using any of the gray paper. But this is just all like woven textures. So this is kind of like a linen, and I can probably zoom in a little bit here so you folks can see a little bit better. So this is like a linen, and they're two-sided. So these pieces coordinate. All right, and then we've got this woven piece, and I just randomly cut some strips. I had some scraps, and then I just cut some strips too. All right, so I am going to, I don't know what color I'm going to use yet. We'll just kind of see how everything looks. But I am going to use an adhesive sheet that I've already cut down. This is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, so a little bit bigger than a normal layer for an A2 card for us in the US, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. No, 4 by 5 1/4 would be the layer. The card size is 4 1/2 by 5 1/2. So I cut it down just a little bit because whatever base I put it on, usually I like at least a little border around my card front. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put this adhesive on just a piece of basic white. Okay, and hopefully I can get it kind of straight. And then layer by layer, we'll just, or section by section, we're just going to peel off the backing a little bit more. And you need to kind of be careful because it will pull the adhesive off of that backing sheet. So you can see where here I'm getting a nice clean peel, and over here it's kind of pulling up a little bit. So I'm just going to pull it in the direction of where it's pulling up so that it doesn't all peel off on me. Now, those of you who watched me the last couple of nights, you know I kind of struggled with my adhesive paper. Well, not last night so much, but the night before. It was definitely a struggle. But I finally overcame. All right, so this is my adhesive side now because the sticky side is stuck to my cardstock. So now I'm going to peel this off. Hello, Bonnie. In fact, I'm going to get my bone folder and just kind of go over this whole thing. And I think I'm going to clean off my glass mat a little bit here. Because I've got quite a bit of adhesive stuck on there. I don't know if that was from our gingerbread guys. It was probably from the couple of nights before that. No, last night, because I did some of the glue on the trees, and I think some of it seeped over. All right, that's better. That's a little bit better. All right. Make sure that's dry. So now let's see if I can get this peeled off better. Yep. All right, so I have just made my layer a sticker. And basically what I want to do is, so Bonnie, you've got a glass mat and you can only use your fuse tool. So is your glass mat smaller? Because I use this for pretty much everything. Don't use sandpaper on it though, because sandpaper does leave little scratches on it. I found that out. Yeah, I should have just said, ask me how I know. Because if you use like your crafting tool, it's not supposed to scratch. But it scratched with my sandpaper. And I'm just randomly putting these out, just to kind of see. And what kind of fuse tool? Your glass mat. Oh, it's not so big. So it's kind of medium sized. What is your fuse tool for? I know it would fuse things together. That kind of goes without saying with this what it's called, but what do you fuse together? All right, so I think I kind of like that, just random placement of those. So I'm just going to kind of start here at the top, and I'm just going to start laying these on here. Hopefully they'll be straight. I think that looks pretty good. They'll be straight by the time I get done, because I'm going to let the edges kind of hang over, and I'm just going to butt them up to each other. And then we'll trim off, for making like shaker cards or other shaker things, I don't know. These are just getting all butted up one against the next so that there's not any layers, just a single layer of the papers. The plastic envelopes with sequins in that. Oh, okay. So like shaker cards, but do you make like ornaments and stuff? It's not just shaker cards, right? This is a little crooked, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. One of my papers might have been crooked too. I'm going to put this one next, just because these two light ones next to each other are kind of light. Really light. I should have probably used, oops, I should have probably used my grid lines. Well, I'm going to end up trimming some of that off. If I try to take this off, it's ripping the paper, so that's not going to work. All right. So, yeah, it's crooked, but I think probably some of these pieces are not exactly straight. So we're going to make it straight. It'll be fine. So I'm just going to line up. Let's trim this part off just with my snips, I think. Because this side is pretty straight. So that's pretty straight. So then we'll just trim these off. And I know my white piece of cardstock was pretty straight, so. That'll look okay. All right, so now I got a fancy layer, and I didn't have to individually put glue and snail or whatever on there. I still need to trim this one a little bit more, I guess. because that one edge was a little shorter. And now you'll notice when I put my cutting blade down, I did it not on the edge because I had such a narrow piece that I was just trying to cut off. I put it down in the middle so that it would pierce my layers, and then I went up and down from there. That's not a new technique, but I know it's a technique that some people aren't familiar with, so. All right. So now let's figure out the color layer we want. I think crumb cake is too blah. I think the basic beige is too blah. So we're looking between pecan pie or early espresso. What do you think? Any preferences? All right, I think I'm going to go with the pecan pie. The early espresso kind of matches those, but it's pretty dark. You like the espresso, huh? Pecan espresso. Well, I'll cut card bases out of both of these. And we'll see as we go along. So I'm going to score it 4 1/4. All right, so I think we've got 3 for pecan. And I'm just scoring it 4 1/4 and then cutting it 5 1/2. All right, so now we've got a couple of pecans and a couple of espressos. So we'll figure it out. We could double mat. We cut this layer down, but I want to make sure that I have room to put the tree on. So we could go down a little bit, but can't go down a whole lot. So we might end up doing just 2 cards. I don't know. Let's see how much more I can cut this one down. Because if I take this all the way down to 4, that's not that much further. We'll go down 4 to 5 1/4. I think we'll take that end off. And then with the so I think maybe the dark matte with the light card base looks best. What do you think? Light matte? It is a big tree. Or dark matte. So many choices. I'm convinced we can do the double matte. Do one of each. Of course. Oh, you're funny. All right, so I'm going to do 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 for each of those. So we're saying a dark matte. Sometimes it helps if you can actually just see it without my hands in the way, right? So just do a nice little border there. That's a real tight border, but that looks good. This one doesn't want to lay flat for me. So maybe I should just do another set of these and put them on there so we can get a better idea. Do we'll get another adhesive sheet here. So these adhesive sheets that I'm basically making the stickers are just these basic adhesive sheets at Stampin' Up! Sells. I'll try laying the adhesive sheet on top this time instead of the cardstock onto the adhesive. The old adhesive sheets that Stampin' Up! Had, I don't remember them having 2 slit lines. I thought they only had 1, so it's kind of nice having multiple slit lines. All right, and let's cut some more little strips, I guess. I have a few. I kind of like that dark one. I cut that going in 2 different directions. Yeah, this is a good scrap buster card. I don't probably save enough of my scraps. It just seems like they get so unruly. So I eventually just dump them. And then when I have something like this, I'm cutting up bigger pieces of paper to make it work. But I'm getting down to just a few sheets of this anyway. So it's all good. Oh, I had another one of those out already. Hello, Nicole. Oops. There we go. And then maybe I'll do one more of the dark. think that'll be pretty good. I'll try to get it on a little straighter this time. You got your cast off, yay. That's gotta feel better. How's the skin look under it? Let's see if I can get these laid out a little bit straighter this time. It's hard when I can't be right over the top. Yeah, I'm sure it needed a good loofah. So if we go there, I think that's pretty straight. Knock on wood, but I've never had to wear a cast. I've been splinted plenty of times. And in a walking boot, it looks like that piece is crooked. This one might not have been cut straight. Oh well. It's gonna be all right. Well, and you might need a little loofah regimen for a while, because sometimes there's some buildup there. I don't know if it all comes off real nice all at once. Yeah, these ended up just a little crooked too. One of my sheets must have not been cut quite straight. But that's all right, it kind of adds to the uniqueness. Oh, and I guess my first layer was probably the culprit. Or was that the, nope, that was, no, my top layer was pretty straight, but it was a little off. It doesn't take much. And then your whole thing is off. All right, there we go. So now we can go like so and go like so. Now, the other thing we're going to do then is we are going to do an experiment. I don't want to glue any of this down yet because of what's in my head. We are going to stamp with Versamark and emboss with copper, I think. And then I'm going to cut it out. So let's hope for the best. So I want to try to make sure I got lots of Versamark on here. I've been talking about re-inking this, and I haven't done it, but it looks like it's going to be pretty damp there, so we'll hope. And because this has the foam on the back of it, I don't need that embossing, that Pearson mat rather. So I'm just going to try to center this. Oop, hopefully it didn't move. It lifted off a little bit. Oh, it looks like I got it all. Yeehaw. All right, now my copper is here. And I forgot to use my embossing buddy, so hopefully we won't have too much clinging where it doesn't belong. The suspense. Whoops. And I was laid on pretty generously because I figure what doesn't stick is going to get dumped back in here anyway, so. Beautiful. A little bit of halo action going on, but not anything horrible. Turned out really good. All right, let's cover this and heat it up. Look at that, isn't that awesome? And that is why I heat from the back. Hopefully you can see that all just changing by magic. And you can see I'm not really moving my heat gun like back and forth. Like sometimes when you have your heat gun going from the front, you really have to kind of move it back and forth so that you don't overheat it. Hello, Sala. All right, that is very pretty. I think it shows up pretty well on the camera there. Whew. So that's the copper part of the Wow embossing colors. It comes gold, silver, and copper. So I'm going to get my die and we're going to line that up and we're going to die cut this. And yeah, that'll work. Let me get a little bit of washi tape. It is like magic. My sister-in-law once told me that she started stamping because she saw somebody demonstrate heat embossing. Now I like any kind of texture, so whether it's heat embossing, dry embossing, you know, with your embossing folders, as long as it's got texture, I'm happy. But the heat embossing is really quite stunning. Hopefully that'll work. All right, let's move these out of the way. And we're going to get Bossy Bessie out here. I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, when I set it on the desk, it does. smoke and mirrors. You know, Halloween's coming. So pretty. It's very, very pretty. All right, and I'm not going to get rid of this piece because we're maybe going to do something here. All right. So I'm going to just set this off to the side because I also want to emboss a tree on here. So what I kind of had in mind, we'll see if it works. If we emboss the tree on here and then cut them in half, alternate them, we should be able to get like a negative effect, right? So we'll see. I'm not sure if this will turn out or not, because this would have to get cut in half. We'd put half the embossed tree on this side and half of this tree on this side maybe. We'll figure it out. Or we won't, and it's just paper. And then we can just call this Lori's Week of Struggles. We'll just see how it works. Now, this, heating it from the back, is not going to work as well because there's 2 layers. It may still work, but it may not. So we'll have to see. Hopefully that worked. And this is where the real magic comes in because it's really hard to see where the Versamark is. It's got a little bit of shimmer to it. Yeah, you're right. Get the struggles out of the way before the holidays. It's like every day I've had something kind of important that I need to work on. And I should just make a list so that I don't forget. So running a background like that through an embossing folder can help it look more cohesive. Oh, that's gonna look kind of cool too. And I don't know if you can see that design too well from your angle, but it looks pretty cool. Yeah, if I was gonna put texture on here, like a dry embossing folder, yeah, that would work. I got all kinds of powder on my table somehow. All right, so let's see about heating this up. Let's see if it'll work from the back or not. It may not. Oh, wait a minute. There's a little bit of the tree here that doesn't have enough powder on it. Now it does. There we go. That was a close call. Let's see if this heats up our paper. It might be a challenge because of the layer. Oh, it's coming. Luckily, the DSP is pretty thin. Hopefully you can see the magic happening. Now last night I kind of showed you when I used my heat gun to warm up my adhesive, I was able to peel some stuff apart. So I want to make sure that I let this cool before I do too much with the paper so that it doesn't separate. Check that out. Can you see that? All right, that's pretty cool. All right, so now if I cut this in half, and then if I trim, well, I have to cut the whole piece out because half of this will go here and half of this will go here. I have to kind of think out loud here how I want it to look. Let's just save this because this might have been unnecessary. You know, sometimes I make things a little more complicated than it needs to be. So let's go ahead and cut this out. I think that works. I don't use copper very often, but it is one of my favorites. And I think the copper with all of these wood tones kind of makes it look more rustically natural instead of like a bright gold. All right, so let's get this over here. Oh, I'm gonna, that's something I need to be careful of here because I want to cut these at the same time to make sure that I have them properly in half. So we've got this at 4. So if I cut this at 2, if I make sure this is together, and because I die cut that, I'm going to take a piece of scrap and lay it over the top of this. Kind of like I did the other day when I had the trees. All right, because I want to protect these edges that are lifted out of there. So we've got this like this. So let's move this and get the trimmer out of the way. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put this here. And then this will go here. Well, that's kind of weird. Oh, there we go. That's going to go like that. So that'll be like a negative. But then if I cut this in half, we could have just the brown. It would look like this. I don't know if I'm making it too difficult or if that's too much going on there, if maybe I should just leave it brown. What do we think? Like this with the embossing on it? Or should I could save these embossing pieces. You like it with half embossed and half just plain? Because I could also just cut the tree out of this one. Let's do this one as if it's going to be like here, because then we can do an opposite card too. So like this, we could, whoops. I've got all kinds of powder here. So this could go like this. And then we'll put the sentiment on, whatever that sentiment's going to be. And then here we could do the alternate light version, like so. Okay. So that could work. Or let's just cut out the tree without it being embossed and see how that looks. We'll just consider our options. And I don't know if I'm going to need to cut anything else or not. And I'm going to use this washi tape to just hold that tree into place. And then if this is, that's also at 4, so we can just go to 2 for this one. Whoops. That one I didn't worry so much about it because it didn't have the heat embossing on it, the embossing powder. All right. So let's bring this in and do it without the embossing powder. So this does not have the embossing. What do you think of that one? Oh, a little bit more tape on there. So there's that one. And then we could also do the light version. This is why I didn't want to glue anything down, just in case we changed our minds on anything. All right, so that's without the embossing, without the heat embossing on it. So what do we think? With the embossed tree or without the embossed tree? I'm almost thinking we could do this set on another card and do a third card. a fourth card because we would actually have enough to do 4 more. You like them all. Well, that doesn't help, but it does. That's fine. So let's just play around with this a little bit. I'm going to cut this in half. I don't know if we need it, but I may as well just cut it. So let's trim this down. That was part of the card front that we got rid of. So if I take maybe just a smidgen off this side. Yeah, I'll be making more card bases, Juju. Too many choices. I'm just getting this cut down to size. So that's 5.5. I need to make this go down to 5.25. And if we're at 4, we can cut this at 2. Because then we could do like this one. Let's get this up out of the way. We could do the plain set. And then we could do the fancier embossed set. We want this like this. And then I would still have this tree that I could cut. Boy, we could end up with 6 cards out of these 3 trees, right? So I could end up with 2 of these using this tree, or I could just use this tree. Oh, Sala, maybe you should just go take a nap. I know, this could be a nice gift pack. You're right. So I could just do this. Like, I could even do just these 4 cards, put them in a gift pack, and put this on the top of a box. All right, so let's get another piece of, I think I need more pecan pie and more early espresso. I'm coming. I'm coming. All right. Oh, yeah, migraine's not probably a good plan. Not a good option. I'm going to move my embossing machine out of the way. So I have a little more room for the trimmer. Yes, leaf piles grow, and I need to do another pecan pie layer to alternate there. I really like that copper on there. It just does something for me. All right. Aside from being on here for an hour already, these really weren't that painstakingly difficult. It's just because I putz around. I haven't said that for a while, but I am a putsy stamper. Just because that's my relaxation mode. What did I do there? Oh, I need this here. Like, why is that different? So non-embossed, embossed. And I think with these, I would definitely do the sentiment with a copper embossed sentiment. And then these, I'm not sure if I would want them embossed. So that did kind of turn out relatively cute. Now, the other thing then too is, I mean, depending on my sentiment, I could even stamp right on here and emboss if I had something that was sized the right way. And then I don't know, I like that too, but I think I could put something like that with this on a card. So this is like paper piecing and scrap making. A lot of choices in here. The bottom left is different because I added the stripe piece. This has a stripe piece too. But we've got the light, oh. Yeah, this one has a striped piece. So I don't know if you can see, but there's the dark, the light, the in between. So these are striped with the embossing on them. And these do not have any embossing at all. These are going to need something else because to me they look not finished. On the cutoff. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Oops. That would make sense. That's why I had an extra cutoff for that one. Yes, thank you for communicating that. That does look better. All right, so now that one doesn't look so plain. Good catch. All right, those aren't quite straight, but you get the idea, right? If I keep touching them, they keep moving a little bit. Pop some gems in the shadow side. Like this side, absolutely, unless I put embossed sentiments there. in which case I would probably put gems in other void areas. I think that will probably just go separate somehow. And the gems, I really like these streaked dots because they go with all, they're kind of like chai tea, coffee with cream-ish color. Because I don't think I have any bronze ones. Well, these might work. No, those won't work. I didn't mean bronze, I meant copper. Although I do have antique pearl. Those might look nice. Those might look nice. All right, so let's see if I do our little acorn guy here. And early espresso. I might want to get some very vanilla. Let me get some very vanilla. I think even in spite of that, I think the very vanilla looks better than, this is the basic beige. This just looks so drab to me. At least the very vanilla is a little brighter. And I think white would be too, I don't know, maybe the white would work. What do you think, white or very vanilla? I'm trying to look at them on the screen too. Very vanilla. And maybe even some of each, who knows? I'm just going to cut the very vanilla down into a smaller, more manageable piece. Now, if we did, I don't know if Autumn Wishes would fit in. Autumn Wishes is going to be just a little too wide for this. So we'd have to put another piece on, which I think would kind of help break up some of the blank spots anyway. All right, so let's just see what these acorns look like on here. This is such a nice image. We can bring in the little machine for this one. Luckily, there's a die for that, so I don't have to fussy cuss. Let's see if that works. Good night, Yuta. That may or may not work. That might end up being too busy, I'm thinking. It would probably work with this, though. What do you think? I think the acorns are a little too busy. Maybe not for this one, because it's darker. Let's just do... I'll hang on to those acorns because those are fun. But I don't know that they'll work with this. And sometimes you just don't know till you look and try it. So let's just maybe do some sentiments here. Autumn wishes could be good. Let's see what the dies for the Label Me Grateful are. Oh, that's something else we could do. We could put a couple of oak leaves with whatever sentiment we choose. I'm just looking at these sentiments again. So a little kindness makes a big difference. Put a couple of oak leaves on there. That's going to cover up like the whole tree. That would not be fun. Well, we might end up fussy cussing because that label is just too big. I don't like that. So maybe we'll just do Autumn Wishes so it doesn't cover up the fun tree. That might just be too big. Again, you don't know unless you look at it. I haven't used these sentiments from the Label Me Grateful very much. So let's do some of this. We'll do Autumn Wishes. I thought I lost it there for a second. Versamark. Let's do some embossed. I think we need a little bit more powder on here. That should be good. That was just so cool. All right. And then let's go. Maybe with a decorative border here. And I'm just going to take this to my other table here. I'm just getting it lined up here. So I think maybe something like that. We used to have this copper woven ribbon. It was a metallic. That would have looked perfect with this. We don't have anything like that now. But then if I add a few oak leaves and some gems on there, I think that would be good. All right. I don't know if you guys want to hang around while I finish a couple of these, or if you're anxious to go. I don't want to keep folks from their appointed rounds while I decide what I want to make here. Cut out a couple of leaves. Those are kind of cute. Put that down there. Or maybe up there. That would fill that void spot. And then some gems on there, and I think that one would be done. In for a penny for a pound. Okay, I'll keep working. And I think I'll do some leaves in the pecan pie. And then we can use some ink blending to make them a little darker around the edges. You know what that sound is, right? Paper popping out of the die. Alright, so then we've got, these might actually be cuter here. And then this could go on this one, like so. I'm just looking to see if there's some little texture stamp we could put on there. You know, it might be fun. Running through this. Some little embossing folder. Everything I have seems like it's too textured. I've got this birch one that might work. Let's try it. The backgrounds just seem like they need something to me. Now I'm also almost to the point where I really have to start gluing things on so it's easier to see them. I think that might have resolved that one. I think I like this one a little bit better now with a little bit of texture. Can you see that? I think you can. I think that just makes it look better than the plain. So if we have this one as compared to this one, what do you think? I think it needs the texture. I think that birch embossing folder kind of adds that bark. Yep. All right. So let's go ahead and glue this one because I've got all those pieces ready to go. Nicole, I don't remember. Did I say hello to you? I think I did. Were you up on here earlier? You were. All right, so this is just a very narrow border, that's 1/16 of an inch, basically. Just enough to give a little pop of contrasting color. This paper feels different to me. I wanted to make sure I didn't have anything, any kind of backing on there, but it sounds like regular paper. It just feels slick. It might just be my fingers. I sometimes have some neuropathy-ish issues. Back from when I did my chemo many, many years ago. The colder weather usually kicks it into gear. And this, of course, has to go up on dimensionals. Oops. Maybe I should put one more little piece of dimensional under there to help hold that in place. I wouldn't even have to take the backing off of it, just so it's stuck together. I think that's straight. And then where did I put those gems? I thought I kept them out, but of course they're hiding. Pearls, I think those will be better on the dark. I think the pearls might be better on the light. I think that's pretty cool. We did a good job. And then let me just emboss the dark version because we need two versions. Let's do the one that's not embossed and see how good that looks. really like that bronze embossing under the copper, I mean. So tomorrow I have several webinars during the day. Judah, you might be aware of this, but American Heart is doing the new guidelines release tomorrow. So since I'm a training center coordinator, I need to kind of pay attention so that I can make sure all of our instructors get done what they need to get done. This might be a good 4-pack for the craft fair I've got coming up. That's November 8th. And I think I like it tucked in the back better. And that kind of camouflages a little bit of the crookedness of that layer. And then for this one, I think we can use these darker dots. Sometimes I like to kind of hide a gem under a layer. I like them. It looks good. We'll get some little Winkostella shimmer on here. It's going to need a little bit more. You likely can't see the shimmer, but it's in there. So those are the two finished cards. These are the two card wannabes, and I'll finish those later. But I'm going to call it a night, I think, just because I have to get up in a few hours for that update. Maybe I'll run these through, get some texture on them. And if I'm smart, I run them through at the same time because the embossing folder is certainly big enough. Just big enough for the 2 layers. Thank you, Nicole. Thanks for collaborating. So those will go there. Yeah, I think that texture made a big difference. And I think thanks for keeping me on track with those negative pieces. I think, Nicole, you were the one that said I had the wrong the wrong set together. So I think that'll be good. And then if we do, whoops, the sentiment, because I could emboss them all. I was going to say I could do this one embossed and this one not because that's how they were, but I did embossed ones on both of those. So I think I'll take care of that. I'll put some gems on them. I'll finish them off. And maybe I'll make a box set out of it and make this the top piece. Maybe with a little acorn tag. That might be kind of fun. I'll try to work on this tomorrow. Oh, here's some more leaves too. I'll try to work on this tomorrow and see if I can't get them done for, well, I shouldn't say tomorrow. I'll try to work on these later today since it's going on 2 in the morning here. If I can get this out of here. We'll put that on here, and then I'll get a dark set for that one. So I'll get them finished, and I'll see you maybe like in 22 hours-ish, right? Well, I'm glad you liked it, Juju. Are you going to make more cards? Or are you just one and done on the cards? Well, thanks for hanging out with me. Good night, Juju. Hopefully you'll make some more cards. It'll be fun. And then one of these nights I'm going to do that expanding pocket thing that I was talking about on my last video. I haven't forgotten about it. I played with it a little bit today, but it just wasn't coming together with what I had in my mind for this. So I will catch you another time. Thanks for joining in and happy crafting.